Byron Nelson, 13. Southlake Carroll, 3. And Abby Jones with Travis Pride talking with a microphone at the break.
Coach, you're ahead by 10. You were the only team to make something of your red zone opportunities. What did you like about your performance in the first half?
Well, I think the kids are playing hard. They're a really good football team. Our kids are staying grounded, just trying to, do their responsibilities, not get too excited one way or too down the other way. So I think they're playing consistent football. It's a long football game. They're really good. So we got to have a good second half as well.
You held Southlake Carroll to 75 yards of total offense. What are you going to reiterate in the locker room with the defense to contain this explosive offense?
Well, what they're going to do is they'll come out with something different. So we got to be ready for their adjustments. They're not going to, obviously Southlake's not going to go in there and be content with 3 points. So they'll have something for us. So we'll just have to adjust and continue to fly around and play Bobcat football, and I think we'll be fine.
First year of football, 2010 for Byron Nelson, as they have built this program from absolutely nothing to something, as we welcome in Abby Jones, live on television and talking to us. Abby, when you look at this game, obviously we love to talk about the points and the yardage, but really Byron Nelson seems to be getting it done in the run game. Break it down for me.
Back up there at the old 20-yard line.
There are not a lot of red zone opportunities for Southlake Carroll off the bat. That was number 7 for Byron Nelson. So momentum is good here. I'm sorry, what was your question again? I got really excited watching that.
No, we're just talking about how these two teams are so high-powered offensively, but it seems to me like the Byron Nelson run game is really owning the line of scrimmage. Take me inside what they're doing offensively.
They're unstoppable. Southlake Carroll is a school that is known for their defense. It just kind of looks like they weren't ready to play tonight because Byron Nelson showed up and they are doing damage. Tucker James is the main guy for them tonight, 99 yards. Tom Von Grote has been incredible, 136 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 46 yards rushing, so he's able to get it done a little bit with his legs too. I want to talk about Graham Knowles. It was a pretty equal quarterback comparison, but tonight he has just not done much. 65 passing yards, 2 interceptions thrown, 30 rushing yards. This team is just being held to 150 total yards of offense, which is just not the South Carroll that you know and that you love.
Yeah, exactly. So let's build on that a little bit and talk about this Bobcats defense, forcing turnovers. What are you seeing out of that side of the ball and that unit for Byron Nelson tonight? Because we talked so much about their offense, but their defense seems to be changing the pace of this game.
The thing is, the keys to this game are third down conversions and getting to the second line of defense quickly and often, and that's kind of what's happening here. Coach Travis Pride said that this was the most talented group of the secondary that he has had in a long time. They fly to the ball. They're outstanding with corners coverage, and that's what you're seeing here tonight. Again, I just want to point out, this Southlake Carroll team, 6 penalties for 50 yards, 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions. I mean, it is just not the recipe that you know for Southlake Carroll, and this defense is a problem with Byron Nelson.
All right, Abby, thanks so much. We'll check back with you as this one gets closer to a final and the interviews roll in. There, Coach, you have it. Abby Jones with Byron Nelson, quarterback Tom Von Grote.
Tom, I was telling Coach, this might as well be your Super Bowl. Tell me what this win means for you.
Well, it means just as much as it means to everybody. It means everything. I can't remember the last time we could say we beat Southlake at something. It just means everything. And no matter what the stats were, the only stat that matters is just 9-0. That's all that matters, winning. It means a lot.
When the school rushed the field, what did that do for your team?
It's a lot of energy. It just made everyone so happy. There's just so much energy, so much build-up for this game. We've been game planning since day one. No matter who the opponent was since week 1, we've been game planning for this. It's all that matters.
You had an incredible night, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns yourself. 4 guys were in the end zone for you tonight. What about the completeness of this team?
Everybody's dogs. Everybody works so hard. We worked on the offseason over and over and over. My Coach Hughes has been just amazing. He gets everyone right. Nobody thought our offense would be good at the beginning of the year. Everyone doubted us. Now we put up 34 points, and everyone on the team is just amazing. I love it.
One question, are you going to be satisfied with this win?
No. There's always more to go. We want 16 games. We've been talking about this since forever. And we break it out to 16 games. All we think about is 16 games. That's all that matters.
All right, enjoy the win.
Thank you very much.
Well, a perfect win, and you mentioned perfect question from Abby Jones, so we're going to go ahead and bring in live here to Football Friday. Abby, you're getting an A+ from Coach next to me, and what a game, what an environment. He loves it. We all adore you, but man, that environment I adored watching on the highlight. Pull back the curtain for us. What was that like following Nelson's win?
I don't know what's going to be more exciting, the World Series or seriously that game. Every single kid rushed the field. Police were, kind of saying, everyone kind of beware. And they were like, let the kids go, have fun. So it was just chaos, as you would expect it to be. You know, like you said, this matchup, they've never been closer than 15 points. So for this team to win by 17 tonight, just electric stuff from Byron Nelson. 397 total yards of offense, 223 on the ground, 174 in the air, 4 touchdowns, 4 different players in the end zone, scoring a multitude of ways, 2 different phases. It was just a complete game tonight, which is their team motto. Coach Pride said that their motto is the number 7, which biblically stands for completion. And I said, Coach, talk about the completeness of the team and just the team effort here. And that's how they were able to remain undefeated for this season. And they're actually blasting congratulations by Post Malone. So these kids are having fun.
Well, they should be a huge win for them at Byron Nelson. They did it in all 3 phases of the game tonight, but they really forced turnovers. And like what Coach was talking about, they wanted the defensive line point of attack, rushing the quarterback tonight. What were some of the key moments and plays that kind of turned this game tonight, Abby?
We talked about the matchup, and it was going to be the mental psychology side of things Monday through Thursday. That's exactly what this team prepared for. The secondary is one of the best on paper. 2 interceptions in the secondary. You know, this team was playing really smart football. Southlake Carroll did not play a ton of disciplined football. They had 5 penalties tonight, and Byron Nelson just had 1. So with turnovers, sacks, and interceptions, and all of those things, Byron Nelson had a recipe for success tonight.
Well, Abby, before we let you go, I'm hearing, well, listen, we got to credit Southlake Carroll for the fight they put up tonight, specifically in the booth with their announcer, who I hear has a Rangers connection. You mentioned World Series. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was so special. I was out at the field all week prepping for the World Series as well. But last week, you know, the ALCS, I was in the press box, and I've gotten to know the Rangers in great detail this summer, and it's been so fun. But I saw John Blake. I was passing by, and he had a computer pulled up with a high school football game. And I said, John Blake, what on earth are you doing watching a high school football game when the ALCS? It's like game 4. And he said, well, my son is the play-by-play broadcaster for Southlake Carroll. And I just looked at him, and I said, you are just the best dad ever. You know, your team's a few wins away from the Super Bowl, and you're in here watching this game. So I got to talk to him about what it means, you know, that they kind of get to share something like this. And he said, it's just so cool. I've been a part of, you know, his process since he was a little kid. I've invited him into the press box. I kind of feel like that's where the love of the game grew for him. And he's just, he said he's probably watching tonight. So John Blake, if you're watching, hello. But it's just super special moment here tonight, and kind of a full circle moment for the Blake family.
Wow, Abby, incredible. This world is entirely too small, isn't it? Coach agrees that you, Nelson, and its home crowd all get A+ across the board here tonight. She's Abby Jones, and she brought us tremendous coverage from a massive win from Byron Nelson, handing Southlake Carroll its first district loss since 2017.
Afterwards, Abby Jones with a microphone talking to the victorious Travis Pride.
Coach Pride, this might as well be your version of the World Series. Explain this win and what it means for your program.
Well, we got a lot of football to play, but those Dragons are good. I used to coach there, and those suckers never give up, so they're hard to beat. So proud of our kids. As a goal we set out, we want to be district champions, and you know, kids did what we asked them to do. Coaches did what we asked them to do, and it's a total team effort. So proud of the kids and proud of the coaches.
Byron Nelson is 0-7 all time against Southlake Carroll. What made tonight's game different for your team?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Byron Nelson is 0-7 against Southlake Carroll all time. What made tonight different for your team?
Oh, well, we've been working for this for a long time. You know, we've been building the programs. The kids have been building the program. And, you know, a lot of it I think we could have played with them a little bit in the past. But there's a sports psychology is real. And you got to believe at some point. Our kids started believing a couple of years ago. And it finally came to fruition, you know. So you can believe, but you have to execute. They did both tonight.
Our Abby Jones was there.
Historically, this is always a matchup that has favored Southlake Carroll. Byron Nelson has an 0-7 all-time record against this team. But tonight, history was rewritten as Byron Nelson hands Southlake Carroll their first defeat of the season. Let's take a listen to what head coach Travis Pride has to say about what this win means for his team.
Those Dragons are good. I used to coach there, and those suckers never give up. So they're hard to beat. So proud of our kids. As a goal we set out, we want to be district champions. And kids did what we asked them to do. Coaches did what we asked them to do. And it's a total team effort. So proud of the kids and proud of the coaches.
Everybody's dogs. Everybody works so hard. We worked on the offseason over and over and over. My Coach Hughes has been just amazing. He gets everyone right. Nobody thought our offense would be good at the beginning of the year. Everyone doubted us. Now we put up 34 points, and everyone on the team is just amazing. I love it.
It was more so about what was working for Byron Nelson than what wasn't working for Southlake Carroll. Graham Knowles was held to just 1 touchdown tonight, and if you compare that to last week's 9 touchdowns in the first quarter for Southlake Carroll, this offense was quiet to say the least. But Byron Nelson complete opposite. 4 touchdowns by 4 different players. A lot of momentum in the end zone tonight. A couple pivotal plays from the secondary changed the momentum of this game. Tonight was senior night here at the stadium, and the crowd got to rush the field. I'm sure it's a senior night that these kids will never forget. Byron Nelson continuing their season, looking to go to number 16. The quarterback said that this team is not going to be settled with tonight's victory. They're going to keep their head down, keep moving, and get ready for next week.